What's a college opinion that will get you like this? Shout out to my guy Patrick, man. Shout out to my guy Patrick. And I'm not gonna lie, for the people who have known me for a minute now, this is something that I've already said in the past. But fuck it, man. Let's get to the bag. You see what I'm saying? Let's get to the bag, man. And I said the college opinion that will have me in this position, and it's showing. It's showing by the engagement, the replies, that I personally did my job. Okay, I personally did my job with this tweet. So I said, yeah, college is not a scam. Y'all just did college wrong. So the reason why I believe this is, first of all, I think we need to start off with as to why people even think college is a scam. All right, I think we need to start off there. The argument against college is the fact that it's overpriced. It's the fact that you don't need it. It's the fact that, we have grown up, we were taught growing up that you need college to survive and make a living. But in reality, that piece of paper doesn't mean shit. You're wasting your time going to college. And you're wasting a shit ton of money because a lot of y'all being me as well, get into tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt for a piece of paper that at the end of the day does not mean anything. And that is why college is a scam. Okay, that's the argument for most people. But as a person who has gone through college, as a person who has graduated college, but also as a person who ended up being an entrepreneur and doing a job that ultimately did not need a college degree, I feel like I have a pretty unique insight with this whole debate. And my conclusion is the fact that, again, I don't think when people say college is a scam, I highly disagree. And I feel like the only reason, or not the only reason, but the main reason a lot of y'all even have this belief is not because college is actually a scam, but it's because you as a person did not do what you were supposed to do while you were in college. Okay? It is not because the system is fucked. It's not because the whole thing is a pyramid scheme. No, it's because while you personally were in college, you fucked around and found out. I ain't gonna lie. And I saw this because I saw this firsthand. I saw this firsthand from having conversations with my friends in high school going into college. I saw this firsthand living on campus and seeing how people went about their business with college. I seen this firsthand with roommates that I had, personal friends that I had. I seen this firsthand with myself. Because newsflash, because of the fact that I was focused on YouTube on the side, because of the fact that a lot of my attention post, doing my assignments was on YouTube, ultimately, when it comes to, I'll let you all know more in a second. Ultimately, when it came to me and how I operate in college, I was the dude who went to class, got good grades, because I ended with like a 3.2, 3.3, got good grades, did everything I needed to do to get that piece of paper, graduated, but I wasn't a part of any clubs. I didn't do any extracurricular activities outside from, again, focusing on YouTube. Whatchamacallit, I didn't get any internships. I wasn't proactive about getting any internships. I honestly spent a lot of my time in my dorm, again, focusing on YouTube instead of even partying, because I didn't really even party that much. I was just, hanging out with people that I personally knew, working on my craft. You see what I'm saying? But yeah, I didn't spend time networking. I didn't really, again, I was the dude who, again, went to class, did my assignments, went home, and kept it pushing. Just minded my own business, played video games. When I came back home, watch NBA games when I played back home, or when I got back home, excuse me, and that's about it. And that's about it. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I feel like a lot of college students did that shit. And then when they came out of college without a job lined up, or they dropped out of college because they wasn't getting a return on their investment right away, jobs weren't being handed to them. Yeah, people are spreading this belief within their inner circles, within people that they know, that, yo, you're wasting your time going to college. I was in college, buddy. All right, I was in college. Yeah, that shit's a scam. You're paying too much for a whole lot of nothing. You know what I'm saying? You're learning shit that you won't even use in the real world. Okay? Yeah, that shit's a scam. That shit's a scam. When in reality, yo, bro, you wasn't really putting in the work for real. I ain't gonna lie. You know what I'm saying? You wasn't really putting in the work. I feel like college is not perfect. I will say that. College is not this thing that is perfect whatsoever. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying that when you go to college, like there aren't flaws within the system. A lot of people in the tweet was talking about gen eds. I completely agree. I feel like gen eds is this thing that a lot of college implement to essentially elongate 4-year programs to 4 years instead of, actually squeezing in the whole thing in 2.5, even 3 years. You know what I'm saying? And I do think a lot of things in college is overpriced. It is overpriced. I will say that. And if you think something being overpriced inherently means that the thing is a scam, then I guess I do agree. I guess I do agree it's a scam. But I personally do believe that when you go to college, what you get out of it, you can get a lot in return. You can get a lot in return if you move about it the right way. You can get a lot in return if you move about it the right way. And networking seems like this thing that like people say but isn't tangible, so there's a lot of pushback to it. But yeah, networking is a really big pro of going to college. Because college is one of the few times in your life, arguably the biggest time in your life, where you can go to this city, where you can be in this environment, surrounded by like-minded people who know people that are in the industry that you want to get into. You know what I'm saying? And especially for people who do not live in a big city. You know what I'm saying? I don't live in a big city. I didn't grow up in a big city. College is a really, really big opportunity, especially if you move to a college in not even a big city. You can move to a college in a mid-sized city and get a lot of value in return. Both, again, from that networking perspective, and also just, I'm not gonna lie, bro. College is a great opportunity and time to be in for people who are introverted, people who have trouble making friends, people who I'm not gonna lie, need to grow up. People who have been sheltered growing up, people who don't really have a lot of sense of independence, who relied too much on their parents growing up. Their parents did a lot for them growing up. And I know that's a whole different conversation, and it's not a black and white conversation as to why people were raised the way that they were. But for me personally, when I went to college, I learned a lot about myself. I learned a lot about how to operate by myself as a grown-ass man. And, maybe it sounds like a cop-out, and I feel like for a lot of y'all, that's going to sound like a cop-out. But yeah, I did learn a lot being in college and being independent. Now, again, those are things that you can learn outside of college. I'm not going to say that you cannot. But it's a part of this whole last experience. That's not the only thing you're going to college for. Again, there's other things you can learn and get in return. But it's one of the things that you can get out of it. So That's why I feel the way that I do. That is why I feel the way that I do. Also, this argument, this is another argument that I'm sick and tired of hearing of when it comes to this shit, bro. This whole idea that you can just learn everything on the internet and it's free is a flawed ass fucking argument, bro. A flawed ass argument.
Let's get it.
Hey, shout out to Andrew for the gifted.
Passenger. This is G5. No, this not a
Shout out to
challenger.
Andrew for the gifted. You a Twitch streamer, LOL. How is it not a scam? Just roll back. Oh, I forgot you can't do that on Twitch. Yeah, for people who know my situation is like unique as fuck coming out of college. But trust me, like being a software engineer was not out of the equation even after everything that I fucking went through. But I'm tired of this argument that like, yo, you can just learn everything online, bro. You know, everything is just a quick Google search away. Fair. 100% true. I think everything that you learn within a college classroom, you can learn for free online. But again, this is why when people say that it's such a L statement because it's such a black and white statement, a lot of y'all don't have the discipline to actually learn something in depth, bro. I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna keep it a beam. A lot of y'all do not have the proper discipline to actually learn shit thoroughly, which is fine. Because I think college puts you in a little bit of not a little bit. I think the financial pressure that college provides, the social pressure that college provides, being in the classroom, having classmates, having people grade you, it essentially not forces you, but it really does push you to develop that discipline and learn shit and do shit that you probably don't want to learn, don't need to learn, but it's, again, the discipline of needing to do what the fuck you need to do. You know what I'm saying? Because, you know what's crazy? I've tried learning shit outside of college by myself. And you really need, and what I've learned is you really need to be passionate about this new skill that you're learning, about this new, thing that you're learning, to really learn about it in depth by yourself. You know what I'm saying? And there's even statistics on this from like Coursera and sites like Udemy, which for those who don't know, like people can post courses on there. Very popular course sites. There's a lot of credible people on there teaching shit. A lot of people don't finish those courses. Like, I'm talking about 70 to 80% of people, when they buy a course, they may get through 30 minutes of it. They may get through an hour of it. But the whole 10-hour course, not a lot of people actually finish that shit. When this is a thing that literally gives, all the information that you need in one place. You get to learn on your own pace. Bars, you know what I'm saying? Everything is right there. It's self-taught. You don't even need to go on different websites, watch videos from 10 different YouTube channels to learn this shit. You just got to go on udemy.com/blah, blah, blah. Lecture 1's right there, lecture 2, lecture 3, up to lecture 10. And 70 to 80% of people don't finish that shit. Also, when it comes to this shit like software engineering, I'm dead ass thinking about it right now. Do you know how hard it would be to self-teach that shit? To the point where you get, like, it, for the people who've actually tried it, it is a lot of work. It is not just, oh, you just got to watch this YouTube, you just got to watch these 10 YouTube playlists and you're set. It is a very complicated process to learn some of these skills by yourself. So to be in an environment where, again, you have that financial pressure, you have that social pressure, and everything is just lined up for you. Everything is just, there's a set curriculum that this college has been teaching for decades, if not a couple of years at this point. You know what I'm saying? By professionals in the industry, or were professionals in the industry that know a lot of people. They have office hours, they have IRL teaching sessions that you can go to. I think that's a lot of value that people just, they scoff at because, this assignment, you know what I'm saying? This lecture, you could just, hey, you can just learn it on YouTube, bro. You can just learn it on YouTube. You know what I'm saying? But that's essentially my thoughts on it, man. I just feel like college can be a waste of money and a waste of time, but I feel like a lot of the people calling it a scam, that's your fault. Again, you went to college, you didn't really know what you were getting into, which is fine, because I think, again, that's one of the cons when it comes to college. It is very predatory in the fact that as a society, we've decided that, yo, out of high school, you got to go to college. When a lot of people genuinely don't know what the fuck they want to do, but because of the social pressures of everyone, they just feel like they need to go to college because it's the next step in life. You know what I'm saying? So it is fucked up in that regard. But again, I feel like with the proper knowledge of what college is, and if you go to college with intent and move about college in an intentful way, not saying you gotta dedicate your whole college career, your whole college 4 years to just, grinding out these internships. You can't have fun. You know what I'm saying? You gotta be a perfect A student, because I know people who did not do that, but still ended up fine after college. That's not what I'm saying. But yeah, there definitely is a relatively easy way to get a lot in return from college, and get this job that you ultimately would not have had if you did not go to college, and will pay off that debt in like 6 to 7 years, ultimately. You know what I'm saying? And let me just say this as well. I'm also not saying college is for everyone. All right? I want to make that clear. I'm not saying college is for everyone, because number one, that's an extreme statement, and number two, there are edge cases where, okay, college deadass does not make sense for you. It just doesn't. But I feel like for a majority of people, it is something that, yes, it is an investment, but everything is lined up for you. You know what I'm saying? There are people there to guide you. There are less variables that are unknown, as opposed to, and that's another thing too, which is why I felt compelled to even talk about this on stream. A lot of entrepreneurs sell you this dream of, yo, instead of spending time in college, you could be a YouTuber, you could be an entrepreneur, you could be doing Forex, you could be trading NFTs. That shit is so shit. Being an entrepreneur is not easy. That's what I also hate about this whole discussion, is a lot of this is being perpetuated by entrepreneurs who want to sell something, who want to make it seem like entrepreneurship is just this easy fucking thing, when in reality, it's not. There's a lot of unknowns being an entrepreneur. For a lot of people, they outweigh the pros and the cons, and the pros outweigh the cons, like myself. That's the reason why I'm doing this right now. The pros for me outweigh the cons. But this idea that, entrepreneurship is this easy thing, in some regards, getting a 9-to-5 is the easier route. In actually a lot of regards, you know what I'm saying? You clock in, clock out. I'm not saying the job is easy/easier. I'm not saying 9-to-5 jobs are easy, but you clock in, clock out. You got benefits from a company that you don't get as an entrepreneur. You know what I'm saying? You have systems in place to have a better work-life balance compared to being an entrepreneur. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, that's how I feel about the whole situation, man. I'm gonna bring up Omar because I know he has a lot to speak on this topic as well. Omar, if you're in the chat, go to Core 4 only in Discord, bro. Go to Core 4 only in Discord. But as I wait on him, let me see what chat has to say, man. Because I know I did say a lot. I did say a lot. We go here. Boom. Boom. You can learn everything on the internet, but it's extremely difficult to know exactly what to study on your own, and also extremely difficult to have the discipline to stick with it. That's really what I'm saying right there. Then once you've studied and got certifications, you'll likely be considered underqualified and underpaid for the better part of your first few years, because either A, you have no degree, B, no experience, Or B, no experience speaking as a computer science grad, by the way. Shout out to Reggie, man. Shout out to Reggie. But a man for $100. $100. I wish it was. 100 bits. If you ain't the smartest like me coming out of high school, join the military. Free college with job opportunities when you leave the service. If you leave as an E5, you jump ahead of peers and you got a supervisor position. For the people who are afraid of the dangers of war, join an admin job like S1/HR. Jobs that keep you off the front lines with hobs that translate outside the service. Easy 6-figure jobs. It's literally wake up at 6, train for 1.5 hours, and then it's a 9-to-5 job. I don't know enough about the military, so I'm personally not going to suggest it. But that's another option as well. All right, let me go to Discord, man. All right, yo. Hold on. They can't hear you right now. Well, they might, but I can't hear you. All right, speak one more time.
Yo.
All right. We're good. What's good, man?
This tweet has got me up in arms. I ain't gonna lie.
Yeah. It's getting a lot of traction right now.
I didn't know I was this passionate about it either. Am I live?
Yeah, you on the stream, man.
Oh.
Hey, shout out
Okay.
to the biggest hoe. Not the little one.
Never the little one.
Never.
So look, what I don't think that people understand is, and this is what that's why. Okay, you look crazy, but what I always want to like pose people the counter is what's the alternative, right? So when you have the conversations and when I hear people be like, oh, college is this, that, and the third, blah, 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 my question is always gonna be, what's the alternative? If your alternative is working a 9-to-5, I mean, I can show you the statistics and I can show you your horizons from a 9-to-5. If your idea is to, I don't know, self-teach yourself, whatever the case may be, sure, we can Google, like you said, software engineering and pull up probably 6 million links plus on software engineering, all these opinions as to where to start, and you won't know where to start at all. You'll just be learning at that point just to learn. If your idea is to go to the military, we can talk about the outcomes of the military. But I think what people ignore in these conversations is 2 things. One, statistically speaking in America, your best outcome for specifically like the average person, I'm not talking about a person that it has like a talent or whatever and can reach these insane heights of popularity. I'm talking about just your day-to-day person. Your best bet is to go to college. Statistically speaking, it'll benefit you not only from a monetary standpoint, but from a health standpoint, for your kids' future, et cetera, et cetera. That's one. And 2, I know what the outcomes are when you don't do that. Like, we just know that.
That's fair. Yeah, not the main thing, but just one of the things that really annoys me again about this whole conversation is a lot of the people pushing people away from college is entrepreneurs that just want to glorify and romanticize being an entrepreneur too. Like, yo, this shit is not that fucking easy. And to market the shit as the easier alternative, I don't think that's right. If any, that's a scam right there. That's the scam. If I'm being completely honest with you.
Make yourself bigger on OBS. I think the other thing that people ignore is that the people that say this stuff, no disrespect to them, but what are you necessarily doing in your life? Like, you're telling people not to go to college, but or college ain't for me, or college ain't for this, that, and the third. What are you doing? In your life that you can say for sure that college wasn't for you. I'm glad I didn't get into X amount of debt. Yeah, but you're capped off at $45,000 a year, and you don't have too many pivots in your life. And a pivot for you would mean, taking on just these extreme tasks. So as I scroll down like the comment section for your comments of that thing, like everything that everybody was saying was easily debunkable by somebody who attended college and now is on the other side, that lived it, could say that they've seen success in it in the way that they went about their journey. Like, a lot of that stuff is easily debunked because I'm looking at you and it's like, what are your horizons as compared to somebody else's horizons who went to college?
Yeah. And I think it's because I struggle with it too. It's just the idea and how to manage debt too. You know, like for a lot of people, and I'm not gonna lie, including myself, like debt is a scary thing. To be down under $60,000-$70,000 is a scary thing. So for a lot of people, that's the argument too. Is you're going in debt for a shit ton of money for this degree that doesn't even guarantee you a job. But I feel like again, it opens a lot of doors for you that you otherwise wouldn't have had if you went to college and again went about it the right way. If you just went to college and you didn't, do your thing, you didn't do what you had to do, then I ain't gonna lie, that's on you. But the resources college provides, because we even had this conversation when we went to Georgia State. Like the shit that college provides, like even as a creator, if you want to start a YouTube channel, bro, the production studio that they provide, bro, like everything that I use right now, chat, to stream, they provide for free. I'm not gonna lie, more or less.
Same.
More or less. Maybe the mic is $200 cheaper, but they got a roadcaster, they got monitors, they got college quality internet, they got lighting, they have everything that you need to even kickstart a content creator career if that's something that you want to do. So, I just feel like a lot of people are educated as to what college provides in this discussion. But I do want to ask you, what do you feel, or what's your response to the people saying like, okay, it's not a scam if you go for engineering or like a medical degree, but if you go for art,
Well, first I want to say about the cost thing. It doesn't have to cost that much. Like, there's a lot of people who make decisions to make it much more costlier than it has to be. And then again, even with it being costly like that, like you're about to live life in America. America is very capitalistic. So you're going to pay now or pay later. But I'll tell you one thing. I'd rather be in 40,000, 60,000, 70,000, $80,000 in debt with the ability to earn $60,000, $70,000, $80,000 based off of my degree, as opposed to being in $30,000, $40,000, $50,000, $60,000, whatever, $1,000 in debt, and then my cap is high school diploma, store assistant manager, maybe $55,000 a year. If that's my cap without a degree, but my cap with a degree is $80,000, I can handle debt just a little bit easier. We're going to be in debt because we live in America.
Yeah.
I'd rather be rich and in debt than poor and in debt. And I've been poor and in debt before, so I know I'd rather be rich and in debt. To those people that even talk about being degree specific, I mean, those are people that have small-minded or narrow-minded views on the outcomes. You can be a store manager at a big department store, and you could come out with better outcomes. Like, you have an art degree, fine. The art degree just opens various doors. So you can then turn your passion and your education into a job that pays a lot. And I know people keep listening to people on the internet, oh, with an art degree, all you can become is an art teacher. That's false. But even if that was the case, there's art teachers that make a lot of money. Mm-hmm. And then two, you just need a bachelor's degree for some of these jobs to get in the door. It could be an art degree. It could be a degree in PlayStation 5 controllers. But as soon as you're like a store manager at a Macy's department store, because you have that degree and because you are not capped off, you're making $100,000 a year. The big mall, wherever you live, BSOLZ, mm-hmm. There's a Macy's, right?
Yeah.
That whatever that big mall is, every state has a big mall. That big mall, that Macy's store manager makes $100,000 a year.
Yeah. No, that's crazy.
And nobody wants to talk about that. They want to act like that's exclusive to engineering and exclusive to these other aspects. But what I'm saying, it doesn't just exist in the department stores either. It exists literally everywhere in all facets. But those things are capped off by degrees. You can be as experienced as you want to. You can put in 34 years at Macy's. Because you don't have a degree, you won't be able to reach that height. And people don't talk about that.
But also, even in those avenues, like we make a big deal about like, yo, Hollywood is about knowing the right person. Being in the music industry is knowing the right person. If you're trying to get in those fields, I feel like, again, the easiest route to be in the same environment, in the same rooms as being in those people that you need to go to be in this industry is going to a college for an arts degree or an acting, going to acting school or, just essentially being in an environment where these people that you need to get in contact to, you're in proximity of them. But again, if you go there and you're in proximity with these people and you just, hey, class ends at 3:30 and after 3:30 you just go home and play video games, then yeah, you're wasting your time. Yeah, you're scamming yourself. But if you outside of class, you went to these clubs, you network with these people, and now you're best friends with, the daughter or the son of head of this record label, just, that's an extreme case, but you know what I'm saying? Now you position yourself in a position to reap the benefits of this big ass investment that you just made. But again, if this is your passion and you didn't go to college, how the fuck would you know that person? Dead ass.
And I also want to dispel this notion too. The writer's strike has a lot of people now understanding this. Like maybe 5% of jobs in Hollywood are the actual actors. A lot of those other people went to some sort of schooling traditionally to get the positions that they got on those sets, in those studios, et cetera, et cetera. But also, like BSOLZ is saying, I don't know why we believe that people that are famous didn't go to college. They absolutely went to college. There's a good percentage of them that went to college, graduated, have degrees, and then the path that they just went down took them to Hollywood or whatever the case may be. But right, how would you ever be able to meet these people in a lot of instances if you did not go to college? It's as simple as that. I think in my perspective is a little bit different from your perspective. That's why I think both perspectives are interesting. But I graduated, and because I didn't have a crazy car, because I came from a middle class upbringing, because I didn't have all the money in the world, because I came from a middle class upbringing, I didn't go to college straight out, and I did what everybody else did. I went to a place of employment that was within reach for my mom to be able to drop me off, for my brother to be able to drop me off, and for me to be able to be picked up. So that's like a 5 to 10 mile radius, right?
Yeah.
And in that, I was only seeing the same people that I was seeing because I went to school, and I went to school in that area, and everybody in that reach was in that same 5 to 10 mile radius. So what networking am I really doing? I didn't go to school in the big city. I went to school in the suburbs. So it's not like there was a Bank of America corporate out in the suburbs. No, it was what's out in the suburbs. Retail places, fast food chains, stuff like that.
Let's get it. Hop off a 16 passenger. This a G5. No, this not a Challenger.
It's the same people I went to school with. The same people I saw on Friday night for the football game when I went to other high schools. That's the same exact people.
Shout out to Angel for the Gifted.
You're not building your network that way. But college, like you said earlier, brings in people from all over the state, all over the city, and puts them in one centralized place.
Yeah. I agree. I don't know. I'm just looking at my career too. And again, I understand it's not a one-to-one relation between getting a computer science degree and being a content creator. But I'm going to be honest, I feel like a lot of the things that make me successful as a content creator was learned through college. It's specifically discipline and learning how to meet deadlines. And that's just an education thing in general. But like a lot of the softs, and even just, analyzing data, interpreting data, how to move about certain things in a systematic way. That a lot of that was learned through college, and a lot of that specifically was learned through my computer science degree. So, someone might say that's me coping with the fact that I ended up being a YouTuber as a computer science major, but nah, dead ass, bro. Like, I know how to read these analytics. A lot of your content creators, newsflash, they don't read their analytics. They just go off of, I think this is what my audience would like. Let's make this video. You know what I'm saying? And then it's just, hey, is it a 1 out of 10? Is it a 10 out of 10? And that's the only thing I'm gonna learn. But they don't know how to read audience retention charts. They don't know how to read click-through rates. They don't, and even if they do, they don't know how to interpret that data to know how to move about it. You know what I'm saying? So, Nah, there's a lot to be learned with college, and just this
I think
idea that it's a scam, I just can't rock with.
I think the other thing that's interesting about like me and you and even Toasted, because most people may not, well, most people know, but they don't know. Like we all graduated at around the same time, all in a similar area, and then all at the same time we're doing some sort of entrepreneurial thing, and they don't know because I saw the comment that was like, and I went off on them. Went off on them on Twitter, but I got in the comments. I was like, I saw the one that was like, "You're a streamer. What do you know?" And I was like, man, that is the most bogus thing to say to somebody who not only is doing both or has done both, but also has a better perspective as to what it takes to be an entrepreneur, not just doing it, but I'm talking about on a successful level, and also knows how many people around him are on a successful level to make this into some sort of long-term living. Like
Yeah,
there are so many around us that a lot of people would look at as like, oh, he's lit, he's having fun or whatever the case may be, and he make $3,000 pre-taxed per month.
yeah,
And no disrespect to those that make $3,000 pre-taxed per month, but for those in the chat, for those that'll watch whatever this the VOD, whatever, I know because I did it. I think it's like $17 an hour or some stuff like that. It might not even be that much, but or it might be more than that. But I made $3,000 pre-tax per month. When the taxes came out and when everything else came out, it was not a lot of money. It definitely wasn't enough money to sustain myself and then take on the responsibilities of like a family and everything that goes afterwards.
yeah,
So me, you, and Toasted have had conversations like, yo, I ain't gonna lie, like I'm looking at jobs, I'm looking at this, that, and the third. Not because it's not like we might be able to sustain ourselves and all that stuff now, that's fine. But the horizons, that's the reason why I got the job. And me and you had that conversation like 5 to 10 years from now, this could be my peak when it comes to making money from content creation. This right here could be my peak.
yeah.
And I could go down from here. 5 to 10 years from now, my working career, I could be, most likely, unless I'm doing something just totally, totally, totally bad, this will be my floor.
Yeah.
And I could support a family and all that stuff with my floor. So if I'm looking at only going up from here, nobody ever talks about weighing those options.
To question our credibility based off of the fact that we're content creators, I think is silly because they don't do the same thing when it's the other way around. When it's a
Absolutely.
content creator telling you that college is a scam, oh, that's facts. That's facts right there. But when it's, I feel like it would even give me more credibility given the fact that I am a content creator, that I am still pro college, because I have all the reason in the world to tell y'all that I ain't gonna lie, I got scammed. I went to college for computer science and now I'm a streamer. I really didn't need that shit. I could have just been talking about basketball the whole time. But no, I think it's the fact that I went through both, managed both at the same damn time, that I feel like I have a really good outlook on, if this shit actually is a scam or not. Again, college ain't perfect. I do think it's overpriced. I will say that. Even with everything that we're talking about, it's overpriced. But
even in the conversation of it being overpriced, like I'm coming around now because there's been so much pushback. Maybe that's why I'm just on college's nuts so hard. Like the idea that it's overpriced, true, everything in America is overpriced. So what that means is, just like everything else, you need to find the smartest way about taking on this completely overpriced thing. That doesn't mean shopping at Whole Foods. I mean shopping at the local discount grocer and saving some money, clip coupons until you can go there. That doesn't mean buying the 2024 Chevy Traverse or whatever the case may be. No, that means going and looking for the 2006 Chevy Traverse that's on Craigslist with 100,000 miles on it. So that doesn't mean going to college. People say that about college is way overpriced. Well, what are you looking at? Oh, I'm looking at going to Harvard. Where do you live? I live in Iowa.
that's true.
Yeah. Harvard with no legacy emissions, traveling from Iowa or all the way over there. Yeah, absolutely. That is absolutely overpriced. People need to become smarter about how they manage things. Even hold on, there was another thing. That Gen Ed conversation, that was another one of the comments that pissed me off too. Because there's a reason behind Gen Eds. If we stuck you in the last 2 years of your coursework to get you a degree, and you get halfway through, first of all, that work is harder. Those classes cost more. So once you fail at that, once you aren't ready to study at that, because a lot of people in their first 2 years with that freedom and with all that stuff going on, that's where they really trick off on college. That's where they really go and they smoke a bunch of weed, get addicted to vapes, drink a bunch of drinks, go to all these parties, et cetera, et cetera. Gen Ed is supposed to teach you study habits for college. That's one. Two, everybody is not on the same level as you. You've got to understand that. They have to put down some standardization, some standard practices for people coming from different walks of life. So while you might understand algebra, Timmy, Tommy, Sarah, and Susie don't understand algebra. So yeah, you got to sit through that. And it sucks. I get it. But you also don't know how to study through college. So take this time to learn how to study through college, and while they catch up to you. I don't understand any, honestly, I'm to the point, I don't understand any gripes, but maybe price. Price can be a little ridiculous.
The only pushback I will say is I feel like maybe it's not by intent, but I do feel like Gen Eds is something that colleges do partially place to elongate some programs to 4 years when they don't really need to. You know what I'm saying? But I do get what you're saying, because a lot of people, again, don't know what they're getting into going into college. So slowing the pace down so that if you went into this shit for computer engineering and you want to switch out in a year to, I don't know, even like a medical field major, instead of having 10 credits that just won't matter now because it's a combination of gen eds and those preliminary classes, now it's just 4 that don't transfer over. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of mitigating risks based off of how students behave, because for those people who don't know, a majority of students, they don't, number one, even finish their college degree in 4 years. Not a majority, but it's like a really big number, like 40-50%. At least that's what my guidance counselor told me. Number two, a lot of people just switch majors. You know what I'm saying? So again, knowing that habit, and a lot of it does happen within that first 2 years. Yeah, I wouldn't front load your coursework with all the hardest shit, and then you just decide, yo, this shit ain't for me, and none of that shit transfers over to your new degree.
And let me ask you this, because this happened to a friend of mine. She was a nurse, and she went to a HBCU, and so they put the nursing classes that didn't have prerequisites to them. That's what she took in her first 2 years, and then at the end of her degree, is when she was supposed to take the more easier classes so she could coast or whatever. So the first year, she took a bunch of nursing classes. It was hard. She was overwhelmed. It sucked ass, right?
Yeah.
And so then she was like, "Hey, I don't want to do this. I want to do something else." Come to find out, those credits don't transfer, like you were just saying, and she had 0 credits going into the next thing. Because what you're supposed to do in your first year, take your gen eds, get you an internship. This is the ideal method for college. Take your gen eds, get you an internship, and then in that internship, it's supposed to give you a better perspective as to what it is that you're getting yourself into. So what I want to ask you is, the classes that you took your last year, second to last year, if you would have took those your first year straight out of high school, what would you have done?
I would have been cooked. I'm not gonna lie.
I would have dropped out.
Failed them. Yeah.
I failed them. Yeah. I would have bombed them, right?
Yeah.
Straight, not even close to honestly, I would have cried. I would have been cursing. If I wasn't addicted to anything, because I don't drink now, definitely would have been drinking more. Definitely would have been smoking more. I would have just, them last couple of projects, dog, bombed them.
Yo, I told you that final project, bro, and you called me out because I muted myself. I'm like, yo, I ain't gonna lie, I cried a little bit, bro, because number one, it was the final project assignment of my degree. But number two, bro, that shit was hard as fuck, bro. Now, mind you, hey, just get Chegg. With a computer, I'm telling you, with these computer science assignments, that shit is not. Oh, there's AI. Number one, AI wasn't a thing back when I was in college. And number two, again, these Chegg assignments and these Chegg answers, it's not just a 1 + 1 = 2 thing. It's like this concept that you need to apply to this original project, and if you get caught plagiarizing shit, you're cooked. You're cooked.
Now, even what you're saying right now, though, BSOLZ, when did you find out about Chegg and how to properly tweak something for Chegg? Was that in your first 2 years, or was that maybe in the middle, closer towards the end?
Like 3 years in. 2-3 years.
And that's what I'm saying about learning how to study and navigate college. Because I didn't learn about that until that year 2, second half, maybe 3 or whatever. Like, okay, I can do this on Chegg, look up the answer or look up the thought process, and then kind of tweak it for myself. If I would have had to do that my first year, I wouldn't have known how to go about this. I wouldn't know that I needed to start early, so I'm not backed up with this. Because in high school, all I did was wait till damn near the day before the assignment was due.
Oh yeah,
do the assignment. So I would have just did that. I would have did that in high school. I literally would have just did that I would have did that in my first year of college. And guess what happened? I would have failed. I would be done. I would be cooked.
Yeah,
it would be over with for me.
And again, maybe it's just different for other majors, but at least for me, bro, a lot of these classes were a thing where if you missed just 2 lectures, you were behind, because the rest of the semester builds off of everything. It's not just, okay, this for the next 2 weeks we're focusing on this, and then the next 2 weeks got nothing to do with what the fuck we just learned. No, everything builds on top of each other. So yeah, I did go through a phase in like sophomore, I think even freshman year, where I was skipping a lot of classes because, you know, I was late. I ain't gonna lie. You know, those are my lit years, man. But not if colleges just decided to front load those hard ass classes in the first 2 years, while people are experiencing a level of freedom that they never had because they were, you know, back home in high school. A lot of us, not a majority, but a lot of high school students didn't have a job. They was just chilling. Everything was paid for by the parents. Now they get this level of independence that they never had. They can go to the clubs whenever they want to. There's hella lit people. There's weed, easily accessible weed, and like, you know, vapes and shit like that. Yeah, you gonna go crazy those first 2 years. So yeah, looking back, man, those gen eds were needed. I needed that art class. You know what I'm saying? That comms class, man. These dude just freeze. Did I freeze? Chat, am I good? Am I good, chat? Not this shit again.
No, it's cool. Yeah, we're good. Okay. The last thing that I want to say is, I think there's this other. Yeah, they said it's me that froze. The thing that is most interesting about this conversation is, again, entertainers telling people not to go, et cetera, et cetera. But there's this notion that if you don't know what you want to do, don't go. And I think that portion is like a misstep by a lot of people. I think specifically for a lot of people, peer pressure is like the greatest motivator. Like being competitive, peer pressure, and not competitive like, you know, Michael Jordan competitive, but honestly, just the idea of like, I don't want to be left behind. And so what happens is, in those situations where you get a job in your local town, you're working at the AutoZone, the O'Reilly's, the Chick-fil-A or whatever, you see a lot of people being complacent and not working towards tangible goals, right? Like, I can see somebody on my college campus working towards tangible goals. I might make friends that are upperclassmen and they're telling me, oh, I got this internship, or I got this job offer, or I got this honor roll, or I got this award, et cetera, ultimately till, oh, I graduated and I got a job. Yeah. But when you're at home working at Chick-fil-A, the best somebody's gonna say is, oh, they offered me to become a manager. And I know how they talk. Ain't nobody becoming no manager. And that's very far and few and in between. If you don't know what you want to do, get around people who are constantly looking at advancing, constantly looking at different opportunities, constantly looking at challenging themselves, constantly looking at ways to, you know, enhance themselves, et cetera, et cetera. And I think that is like college personified. There's no other place where you will get a collection of people from different walks of life with different ideologies, different viewpoints, that will every single week, month, year challenge you because they are seeing success themselves. And for those that are like, yo, is it too late or whatever the case may be, you should assess every single year. Every single year, you should ask yourself, is what I'm about to take on, or these things that I could take on, are they going to benefit me? Should I move? Should I get a trainer, go on a diet plan? Should I go back to school? Should I look for a new job? You should take those in and weigh the pros and cons of those things. If it doesn't fit you now, because I think a lot of people go to college for 1 year, 1 semester when they're 17, and they say it's never for them.
Yeah.
But it wasn't for you when you were 17. And I could get that. You weren't ready, you weren't prepared, you were thrown off. That was me. I can honestly say that was me. But 24-year-old me? Oh, it was definitely for 24-year-old me. And I made it my bitch. And I graduated and got a job offer 20 days later. And I'm fighting off job offers to this day. Like, it may not have been for you at 17. But get you in a place that's going to challenge you.
I feel like as much as you can, though, be educated with, like, applying to colleges. I know it's easier said than done, being 17, 18, specifically senior year is when shit really gets easy in high school. And I'm also of the belief that, like, yo, in high school, you know, don't sweat the small stuff. It's just high school at the end of the day. I know it's like a big moment in your life right now, but grand scheme of things, it really isn't. But as much as you can, though, try to inform yourself about college and what you're getting into going into it. And I think everything will just clear up. Because I feel like a lot of people do slack off that senior year. A lot of people just apply to colleges because of, again, what you said, is peer pressure. Everyone's going to college. I got to go to college. Doesn't really matter what the fuck I'm getting into. I'm just going to college. But yeah, as much as you can, just inform yourself of what you're getting into. You know it's going to be a lot of money that you're going to shell out. So what the fuck is this I'm going to be, you know, shelling out a lot of resources into, and move about it that way. But even then, again, like you said, like, college is just a really good way to find yourself as well. I think high school is, a lot of people say, like, oh, you find yourself through high school. I would even disagree. I think college, again, for a lot of people, this is their first time being alone, really having to do shit by themselves. And in those first 2 years, you find a lot about yourself and exactly what the fuck you're interested in and what you're not actually interested in, but you thought you were interested in.
Well, if somebody says that you find yourself in high school, they would, again, that's a narrow-minded, I've never left this high school environment. Because again, that's probably a person who, no disrespect to them, I never left my hometown. I work at these jobs that are local or whatever. Because think about how much structure, there's going to be a means of, you got to wake up at a specific time, or else your parents will go to jail if you don't go to school, right?
Oh, he froze again. Hell yeah. W stream chat. W stream. You're freezing, gang.
Oh my! Who, we are or you are?
You are. You need that fiber, gang.
This is that fiber. This is what I'm telling you. Okay, am I good now?
Yeah, you're good.
Yeah, I'm gonna get that fiber right now as soon as I get off. But yeah, if you don't go to school, your parents will literally go to jail. So you have to get up at a specific amount of time. There's gonna be a means of transportation that comes and picks you up, guaranteed, at a certain time. That'll have you at the school at a certain time. Then you have a designated schedule, which you have in college, but you don't have the option of not being there. You can't just be in the hallways. You have to be in these places at a certain time. Then there's a means of transportation that's going to take you home. You have worksheets, and the amount of worksheets as homework that's like guided through to get you to this place. There's so much structure in high school, it's ridiculous. As opposed to college, I'm not going to lie. Really, sign up or don't sign up. It really doesn't matter.
Show up or don't show up. That shit was really what surprised me. I'm like, yo, dead ass, if I don't go to class, no one's gonna check me. Like, dead ass. And again, in those first 2 years, because of that shock, I took advantage of it. But once I realized, yo, I missed 2 lectures and I need to catch up on a lot of shit, that's when I stopped skipping classes, man, and really teed up.
And what they did if you didn't turn in an assignment in college?
0. You're cooked. No makeups, no nothing, bro.
I'm about to say, didn't tell you about it. It wasn't like a X, Y, and Z. You go 2, 3 zeros into the hole. Now in high school, if you don't do 2, 3 assignments, what they gonna do?
Makeup class, makeup homework. Oh, just pass it in the next day for 80%. That shit. That too, because I had that take on a pod, bro. I think high school specifically, it is harder to fail than to just graduate and just, actually get a fucking diploma. In college, I do not have that same take, bro. I do not. No way. And that's the thing that about college, bro. Again, this is your first time being independent, living by yourself, and you gonna really learn about yourself. That ass, because for a lot of high school students, your mom was doing your laundry for you, your dad was doing your, everyone was, you had people in your life doing dishes for you. Were you even throwing out the trash? I don't know. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, in college, like, it really puts you in this environment where, yeah, you are gonna be forced to grow, no matter what. You are gonna be forced to really learn about yourself. So
it's as simple as that to me. I'm gonna talk about, since I got a stream later too. I want to talk about I want to go through the comments, because the comments, that shit got me so tight. I'm like, well, these are people, honestly, like you said about the restaurant reviews. Those are people who have never been to, either haven't been to school or they went and they did it wrong. And then they're just like, I got $20,000 in debt, or not even 20,000. I got about $8,000 in debt, and I work at O'Reilly's as the assistant manager. Honestly, at that point, fuck it, go back. You started digging. Why you turn back around? Keep digging.
yeah, no, I agree. But hey man, shout out to the Big O for coming on, man.
I'll see you later on the night.
All right,
Thank
peace
you.
out, man.